A huge controversy has just erupted at one of the world's most prestigious debating societies, the Oxford Union. A highly anticipated debate on India-Pakistan relations, scheduled for November 27th, descended into a complete farce with accusations of sabotage, lies, and a deliberate Pakistani gambit to avoid the intellectual battlefield. Let's break down what happened, because this story is a wild ride of last-minute changes, conflicting statements, and some serious international drama. The motion on the table was a spicy one. The House believes that India's response to Pakistan is a populist strategy sold as security policy. Now, this was set to be a major showdown, but right from the start, things were shaky. The Indian side initially meant to feature high-profile names like former Army Chief General Naravin and Dr. Subramanian. Saw them pull out just 2 days before the event due to unavoidable commitments. This left the Indian team scrambling. Stepping up to the plate was prominent lawyer J. Sai Deepak, who was already prepared to argue India's case. He quickly managed to assemble a new team from within the UK, bringing on board Manu Kajuria and pundit Satish K. Sharma. Despite the short notice, they were ready to go. The stage was set, the tension was building, and then everything fell apart. Just hours before the debate was supposed to begin, on November 27th, Sai Deepak received a phone call. It was 3:13 p.m. The news. The Pakistani delegation, which included big names like former Foreign Minister Hina Rabbani Kaur and Defense Minister Khawaja Mohammad Asif, had apparently not even landed in London yet. Hearing this, the Indian team, who were on their way, made the logical decision to turn back. It seemed the debate was off. But this is where the story takes a truly bizarre turn. A short while later, Sai Deepak claims he received confirmation that the Pakistani delegation had in fact landed. Not only that, they were already checked into a hotel right there in Oxford. This revelation completely changed the narrative. From a simple scheduling issue, it suddenly looked like a calculated move. Sai Deepak did not hold back. He took to social media platform X to unleash a blistering account of the events. He accused the Pakistani side of deserting the battlefield even before the battle begins, suggesting they lacked the courage to face a live, unscripted debate. He painted a picture of a team that got cold feet, unwilling to defend their position against a prepared and determined Indian side. He also pointed a finger at the leadership of the Oxford Union itself. He revealed that key positions within the Union were held by Pakistani nationals, naming Musa Harai as the president, who he alleged is the son of Pakistan's Minister of Defense Production, and Raza Nazar as the treasurer. Deepak argued that this allowed the prestigious institution to be dragged in muck and effectively become a mouthpiece for the Pakistan High Commission. He felt the union's leadership had failed in its duty to ensure a fair and organized event. Now, let's look at the other side of the story. The Pakistan High Commission in London released its own statement, and it tells a completely different tale. They claimed it was the Indian delegation that had withdrawn at the last minute. They framed this as India handing a walkover to the Pakistani side. Their statement suggested that India lacked the confidence to defend its security policy in what they called a neutral and intellectually rigorous debate. So, who are you supposed to believe? We have two completely contradictory accounts. One side says the other faked a travel delay to dodge the debate. The other side says the first team simply backed out. The Pakistan High Commission's statement conveniently omitted the fact that their own high-profile speakers were the ones with the supposed travel issues, and it completely ignored the frantic last-minute efforts by Deepak to even have an Indian team present. The controversy didn't stop there. Indian politician Priyanka Chaturvedi of the Shiv Sena also weighed in, mocking the situation. On X, she wrote, "Pakistan is crying again over an Oxford Union debate. This is for the record. Once again, they have proved to be liars. Expecting any better from them was not even on my list." Her post amplified the Indian narrative that Pakistan had acted in bad faith. Let's unpack the implications of all this. The Oxford Union is supposed to be a bastion of free speech and intellectual rigor. For an event to collapse in such a messy and public way raises serious questions about its organization and neutrality, especially when the leadership's own connections are brought into question. Deepak's core allegation is that this wasn't an organizational failure, but a deliberate Pakistani gambit. The sequence of events he lays out is compelling. Why would the union's president inform the Indian team that the Pakistani speakers hadn't landed if they were, in fact, already in Oxford? It's a critical question that remains unanswered. If true, it suggests a coordinated effort to sabotage the debate while trying to make the Indian side look like the one that backed down. Think about it from the Indian team's perspective. They've assembled a team on 48 hours' notice. They're on their way to Oxford. They receive official word from the head of the union that their opponents haven't arrived. Their decision to turn back is entirely reasonable. To then be accused of a last-minute withdrawal must have been infuriating. This entire episode has turned what should have been a substantive debate on a serious issue into a public slanging match. Instead of discussing policy, we're now discussing who lied about their flight schedule. The real loser here is the opportunity for open dialogue. A global audience was denied the chance to hear both sides of a critical geopolitical issue debated by prominent voices. The Pakistan High Commission's statement, when read in the context of Deepak's detailed timeline, seems to crumble under scrutiny. They claim the Indian side withdrew, but failed to mention the information given to the Indian team about the Pakistani delegation's travel status. This omission is glaring. They celebrate a walkover that appears to have been engineered by their own side's mysterious travel plans. In his posts, Deepak lamented that the Oxford Union's reputation was being tarnished. He expressed disappointment that an institution with such a long and storied history could be manipulated in this way. He essentially called for accountability not just from the Pakistani delegation but from the union's leadership for allowing this farce to unfold. The original motion itself is at the heart of this. The idea that India's security policy towards Pakistan is more about domestic politics populism than actual security is a provocative claim. It's exactly the kind of topic that makes for a great debate. The Pakistani side would have argued that India's actions are for show to rally nationalist sentiment. The Indian side, led by Deepak, would have presented a robust defense, likely detailing cross-border threats and the necessity of a strong security posture. We will never know how those arguments would have played out. We will never see Hina Robani Kaur face off against Deepak. The intellectual confrontation that was promised was replaced by a series of angry tweets and conflicting press releases. The battlefield, as Deepak called it, was deserted before the first shot was even fired. What this incident highlights is the immense tension and mistrust that continues to define India-Pakistan relations, even in academic forums far from the border. It shows how even a simple debate can become a proxy for the larger national conflict, complete with tactics, maneuvering, and information warfare. Ultimately, this story leaves us with more questions than answers. Was this a genuine arubeto catastrophico organizational failure? Or was it a deliberate, cynical ploy by the Pakistani side to avoid a debate they felt they couldn't win while simultaneously trying to score a public relations victory? Based on the detailed account from the Indian side and the holes in the Pakistani statement, many are leaning towards the latter. The Pakistani gambit, as Saideepak termed it, seems to be the most plausible explanation for this Oxford Union fiasco. The truth might be buried in a series of phone calls and hotel check-in records. But the public fallout is clear for all to see. What do you think happened here? Was it a simple mix-up or something more calculated? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. This story is still developing, and we'll be sure to keep you updated. Thanks for watching, and if you found this breakdown informative, please like the video and subscribe for more in-depth analysis. See you next time.